HR management is all about a new origin which happened in 1980s. Human resource management is a multidisciplinary subject. Human resources is really a beautiful subject where you can understand the nature. These activities of trade union gave rises to personal practice such as Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Abhilash Chandra from the Department of Commerce and Management in Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to you students. Here we are going with the first chapter, that is the introduction of HRM session 1 and the part 1. So what exactly HRM is all about? Now human resource management is an entire holistic kind of resources which you people should know. When I say holistic market, what exactly it is? It involves everything. That is, from the starting of the employee getting a job till he retires or till he goes to some other job, whatever happens, that is HR management. Now here you need to know that HR management is all about a new origin which happened in 1980s. That is, if you understand the industrialization where it stopped, then that is a time where the revolution of being a human resource management took places. That means human should be treated as a resource, and that too, it is what the heterogeneous behavior of human being, that is all leads to what a complication. But here to train those people and then get them into the homogeneous mode and then getting the work done efficiently and effectively is the prime thing which a human resource management does. Now human resource management is a process. When I say it's a process, please understand it is a complete branch of managing human being. That is recruiting a person. That means, what is a recruitment? Inviting a person to face an interview is called recruitment. Then you are supposed to select that, and after selecting you are supposed to place them, give them orientation, and let me tell you more about this human resource management. It is not just recruiting, selecting, giving orientation. It is also you are supposed to look into the training and development, and after that you are supposed to go with performance appraisal, placement, and you need to give them compensation, incentives, reward, make them motivated. All these things are what human resource management. So here selecting, inducting employees, and that too what providing orientation, imparting them with training and development, appraising the performance of employees, then deciding compensation and providing benefits, motivating employees, maintain proper relationship with employees and their trade union. All these things are human resource management. And you should also know that we are supposed to know the law of the land, and you are supposed to actually follow what the order and judgment of the concerned High Court and Supreme Court, if any. Even that means the District Court is also included here. That means you should be intact with whatever the human beings can be doing it, or they should do it. Everything you are supposed to holistically, you are supposed to see it and then cater them with the welfare of themselves as well as the organizational benefits. So human resource management, what are the functions? When I go with this function, you are supposed to know that human resource management is exactly like the management functions, which is planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. So if you understand this, you will also understand that it involves procurement, development, maintenance of human resources. Then we have, it helps in achieving individual, organizational, and the personal or social objectives. Now you understand this, it helps in individual. When I say individual, it is the personal objective. Organization, why the organization is having human resource management is to fulfill their objective, and social objective because we are in the society, we are supposed to look into the social aspect very clearly. And next we have is human resource management is a multidisciplinary subject which includes the study of management. That is, it includes psychology, management, sociology, political, economics, It involves entire discipline of management skills with you should have a proper communication, economics and sociology also. It involves team spirit and teamwork. When I say team spirit and teamwork, please understand, Henry Fayol once said that, Henry Fayol, right? Now, he is the father of management, that to a general management, and he says that there should be always something called E spirit D corps. Now that is what you are supposed to work together. And when we go with human resource management, you will understand that the word me should be replaced with we. That is what human resource management always aims at, that is the team spirit and teamwork. Lastly, you are supposed to know that human resource management is always a continuous process. Now, evolution. When we understand this evolution, you will also come across one particular thing, that is the term human resource management is of recent origin. In its modern connotation, we can actually say that it came to be useful or used mainly in 1980s onwards. During ancient times and for a long period in the medieval era, whatever the production used to happen of the goods was done mainly by whom? By the skilled artisan and craftsmen. So those times what happened was, there was something called personal management in the sense the manpower planning used to happen, and only those people will actually get the work done, and that is how they are supposed to get the money. But here what has happened is, we are creating a different era where human are treated as resources. In your school days, you would have learned about natural resource and man-made resources, but in the modern era, what happened is, we have introduced a resource that is called human himself has a resource. And you people should know that human being is a heterogeneous person, and to make those heterogeneous into homogeneous and getting the work done, that is a beautiful task, and HR managers loves it. Let me tell you here, whenever my students ask me that what type of subjects we are supposed to opt for a B.B.A final year, 5th sem and 6th sem, I always tell them that if you want to learn something more than your book or more than the syllabus, you are supposed to take human resources. And human resources is really a beautiful subject where you can understand the nature, a behavior, as well as the psychological factors which affects human being, and how the productivity will be achieved and how the productivity will not be achieved through the human resource management. So we go with the development of human resource management. We have the few eras here which you are supposed to know. The first era here is trade union movement era. Now, industrialization, when it was started, the revolution was started. That is where the trade union movement era in India also started. And then we have social responsibility. Now, what does that? As a human resource manager, what type of social responsibility you are supposed to contribute? And then we have scientific management. When I say scientific management, it is always F.W. Taylor, who is a person who started with the revolution of scientific management into the industries. Then we have human relation, behavioral and systems approach. All these three I'll be explaining you one by one, where you will understand what are the human relations era is, what is behavioral science era, and what is system approach era also. So the first era which we always go with is trade union era. What really happened in the trade union era, you are supposed to know. The conditions of workers in the aftermath of factory system has an outcome of industrial revolution. So what is this industrial revolution? That is, go with more production, optimum utilization of resources, and then there was a shift. Now what exactly the shift was? That is, humans were replaced with machine. That is why the industrial revolution was very huge in demand and production was more. Then there was a demerit also. What was the demerit? That is, the quality was coming down and quality, right? The quality used to go up. Now the quantity was coming down and quality was going up. That is the time people used to buy the product. But later what happened when industrial revolution started? That is a time where quality was less and quantity was more, because humans were replaced with machines and machines used to produce more goods. But then later they got to know that we need machines plus we need human beings. So those who were there, we are supposed to manage them, train them, guide them, make them motivated, and only then the productivity will come. That is what the trade union era also says. Here, if you understand that the conditions of workers in the aftermath of factory system has an outcome of industrial revolution were very pathetic. It was indeed very pathetic. The First World War further worsened their condition. This was the period when state intervention to protect the workers' interests was felt necessary. The Royal Commission of Labour in India, that is 1911, under the chairmanship of G.H. Whitley, recommended the abolition of the jobber system and the appointment of labor officer in industrial enterprises to perform the recruitment function as well as to settle the workers' grievance. So that means what? When it was very worse, this person named as J.H. Whitley, now he is a person who started with abolishing of the jobbers. Now there was something called jobber. I'll be explaining you what exactly a jobber is all about. And then he went with the recruitment and a personal people. He took them into a separate department where the workers can go with their grievances. Also, workers started forming their association, which was subsequently known as trade union. That is, this trade union is done by the workers only to improve their lots. The Trade Union Act 1926 was passed in India. That means you need to understand there is something called Trade Union Act, Trade Union Act, and that too 1928 was passed in the parliament where Britishers were there, and that is where the human resource management was initially started, but it did not get the name called human resource management. It was given a name called manpower planning. Human resource management was only coined in the 1980s. Here in the trade union era, it also happened that the basic philosophy underlining trade unionism was to safeguard the workers' interests and to sort out of their problems such as use of child labor. Now you are supposed to prohibit that, long hours of work and poor working conditions. So these were few of the things which they really felt that there should be an abolishment of all these things, because small kids were taken and they were supposed to work because you will be paying them less money, but the work is the same thing which the adults will actually do it. Then these unions had strikes, and the trade union also started with strikes. Whenever, see, there are two things which you should know. One is strikes, and this is done by the laborers, right? And one more is lockout, that is done by the employers. Strikes, slow down walkouts, picketing, boycotts, and sabotage has weapons for the acceptance of their problem. If the problem of the laborers are not solved by the employer, then they'll be using all these tactics so that the employer will say yes to their demand. These activities of trade union gave rises to personal practice such as collective bargaining, grievance handling system, arbitration. What is this arbitration? That is, settlement before the court is called arbitration. Disciplinary practices, employee benefits programs, installation of rational and defensible wage structure. That is, whenever you go with it, you will understand that only when you protest for whatever you really want, if you demand something from the employer will check what exactly the demand is. He'll see that can he fulfill it or he cannot fulfill. See, getting people and then making a strike is not a big deal, right? You can actually get it done, but you are supposed to go for a one proper meaning and then you are supposed to do. That is what the trade union always suggests the employees, that if you are all together and if we go for the strikes and all the sabotage, boycott, all these things, then what happens is the employer will definitely listen to it. And that is a time where employers also felt that there should be a grievance cell, there should be a disciplinary one, collective bargaining, and there should be what? grievance handling system, arbitration and disciplinary practices should be followed so that the employee will benefit in the programs whichever is given by the employers. Then what happened is the trade union became successful in all the different parts of country. Next one we have is a different era where we have seen trade union era. Now we have social responsibility era. In the starting decade of 20th century, some factory owners, employers started showing humanistic approach towards the workers. That is Robert Owens. Now, Robert Owens is a person, a Britisher, now a British industrialist towards workers. He viewed that principal social and economic environments influence the physical, mental and psychological development of workers. That is, when you are doing some charity, what happens is the workers also will feel very, very good. Therefore, in order to improve the productivity, it is necessary to improve conditions of employees. Now, you need to always improve the employees' standard of living. When you improve the employee standard of living, what happens is they'll definitely feel so much good about the employer. They feel like being loyal to that person and work more and make him rich. That is what J.R.D. Tata or Tesla or people who are from the 19th century to 20th century, they were there. When they started with more of socializing and social responsibility era started, the employers started to give more charity to the employees, the fringe benefits, the incentives. That is a time the productivity also increased. Here what happened, by removing them from an adverse environment or by changing the environment with the provision of more satisfactory living and working condition. That is a time when the employer started to actually build quarters to the employees. Now what happened is the people who never had any houses, they started to get the quarters, and that is what the benefit was more. When they got more benefit, even they thought about being loyal to the employer and getting the work very efficiently used to happen, and that is what the social responsibility era is all about. Now I have explained you about the trade union era as well as social responsibility era. Here students, what really happened in the trade union era is trade unions started to form. The reason is the employer used to take undue advantages of the employees. That is the reason employees started to make an association. And next we had one more, that is social responsibility era, where the employer thought that he should develop the standard of living of his employees, where he used to give them the incentives, fringe benefits, and he wanted to improve the standard of living. So what happens is in the next stage, the employees will also contribute something more, that is they'll give more productivity so that the employer will also make huge profit. So these are the two eras which we have seen. In the next session, I'll be teaching you different eras like human relation era and other things. Till then, thank you so much. I'll see you when I see you.